Alright guys, MTech Guy here, and in today's video we're going to take a look at what to do if your sunroof ends up stuck in the open position on your E60 M5. Now then, this is not a super common problem, but it does happen from time to time, and it appears that a lot of these E60 M5s got optioned with sunroofs. Now that seems a bit strange for a sports car, but essentially I suppose these are a luxury super saloon, so I don't know whether it's standard equipment on most of them, but I can honestly say I've never seen one without the sunroof. But that being said, it's not a super common problem, but things can go wrong from time to time with these sunroofs, and this video applies to any E60, not just the M5s. Now there's a few things you can try that we're going to talk about in today's video to get your sunroof back to the closed position and then operating correctly. And the first thing we'll take a look at is reinitializing the sunroof. Now this is basically teaching the car where the start and stop points are, again where the set points are for the sunroof position. Now it's not uncommon for the car's computer to forget these set points, and you'll often find you'll need to do this procedure if you've had the battery disconnected. So let's jump in the car and take a look at what's required to reinitialize the sunroof. Alright, so here we are inside the car. Now you want to be taking a look at the button we use to operate the sunroof, and you want to be pushing it in and holding it for at least 20 seconds. And then once you do that, you'll see the sunroof will go through a series of motions. It'll close, open, tilt back to normal, and it'll just reinitialize all them set points. Now I'm not going to do it today, but that's what you need to do, and it'll just take the sunroof right away through that sequence, and it should relearn all the set points, and normally 9 times out of 10 that'll resolve this issue. Now if that doesn't work, there's a few other little things we can take a look at. Now another thing that can cause issues is the wind deflector, which is this section right here. So obviously when your sunroof opens, this pops up, and then it just gives that deflection for the wind when you're driving, so it's not all roaring through the car there. Now what can sometimes happen is the springs that push this wind deflector up and the hinges at either end can get caked in dirt, and also with you washing the car and the rainwater, that water can creep in through the seal and wash the grease away also, and then that in turn makes this super sticky. So what can happen is when your sunroof opens, this can pop up in the up position like it is now, and then it gets stuck, and then what happens is when you come to close your sunroof, this won't push down like it's supposed to, and the sunroof will just hit it, it'll push into it, and then it's got a safety feature like if a child stuck their hand through when the sunroof's closing, it'll sense that something's in the way, and then it'll either stop and it should reopen a tiny bit. And then this presents you with the issue that you can't get your sunroof closed because it's hitting against this and it's not allowing the sunroof to close properly. So if that's the case, the course of action you want to take is to lubricate the two springs. There's one here and one about 2/3 of the way up there, and then also the hinges, the joints on the hinges, one at either end. Clean any dirt and debris off them, lubricate them up with a little bit of oil or WD-40, and then just move the deflector up and down, work it in, and make sure that it's operating without sticking. It'll go up and down nicely, and that should sort out that issue. Now then, moving on from talking about the dirt and debris that can get caught in them hinges and them springs, the same can also happen for the tracks of the sunroof, which we can see here. Now over time, if enough dirt gets in there, it can become caked, and then that won't allow the sunroof to slide nicely. It can get bound up, and that can also cause the issue. So the best course of action with that is you want to get in there and give these rails a good clean. Now this is more of a preventative maintenance item, and you're better off doing this before it fails, but it's worth just going through and cleaning them maybe, I don't know, every 6 months, 12 months. Get in there with a rag and something to clean it off, bit of WD-40 or something, and just give it a good clean, and then just re-lubricate it with either some fresh lube. Now we don't want to go caking a load of fresh grease in there because that's just going to attract dirt and it's just going to get bound up again. So you want to be looking at something like some dry lubricant, like what you can get for bicycle chains. It's kind of like a waxy product. Or if not, just get some silicone spray and just put a light coating in there. Obviously don't use silicone grease because that's just going to cake things up, but if you get in there with a light coating of silicone spray, that should be ideal for the job. Now if your sunroof's stuck in a position where mine is now, where you don't have access to the full length of each rail down both sides, and you've tried operating it with the switch and reinitializing it doesn't work, there is an emergency procedure you can use to get it fully closed or fully open, and we'll take a look at that now. Now if we take a look in the boot here, and we'll just drop down the toolkit, living underneath the first aid kit, is a special tool here. Now that's used to manually open and close the sunroof if you end up in this position. So you're going to grab that tool out the boot, and then we'll jump in the car, and then to access the winding mechanism that lives behind this panel here where the switch lives, this whole panel just needs to be pulled away and it just hinges down, and you can do that by even using the screwdriver out the boot just to get it started, and then get your fingers in there and pull it down. And what you'll find behind this panel is a keyway on the motor, and you can hook that tool in and just wind it manually open and close. So you can wind it all the way open and get access to them tracks and give it a good clean, and then hopefully it should work from there if it was dirt and debris that was stopping it, that was binding it up. And if you're out in the car and away from home and the sunroof does get stuck in the open position and the button's not working to get it back to the closed position, what you can do is use this procedure with that special winding tool just to get the window closed, so then you don't have to worry about it. You can deal with it once you get it home or get it back to a workshop. And one other item that can cause issues, which also lives behind this panel here, is the drive gear on the electric motor itself. It's a small metal drive gear, and what can happen, it can become worn over time, can become damaged, and often they'll split right down the middle. It'll split in two, or it'll split on one side, and then it just won't function correctly. So if you've tried everything else, it's worth checking that out. So you'll need to remove this panel here, just unbolt the motor, drop it down and check that gear out. If you do find it's broken, you don't have to replace the whole motor. You can buy replacement gears online. Alright guys, so there we have it. That's a few things you can try out if you end up in a situation where your sunroof won't open and close properly, or it ends up stuck in the open position. Now if you found the video interesting or useful, don't forget to give it a like, and make sure to check out the rest of my YouTube channel for more M5 content. Subscribe if that's your cup of tea. I'm MTech Guy. Thanks a lot for watching.